Have you ever just stared at a totally random date on the calendar and wondered, is there some sort of hidden pattern to it? Like a date that, when you really peel back the layers of history, reveals this absolutely staggering convergence of cosmic events, global politics, and deep cultural milestones? Well, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to look closely at one specific, seemingly ordinary day, August 27th. On the surface, sure, it might just be another late summer day, but as we're about to see from the data, August 27th holds this immense, almost unbelievable historical and celestial weight.
Okay, let's dive into this and look at our roadmap, moving all the way from the vast cosmos down to everyday human achievements. First up, universe and astronomical milestones. Second, world politics and warfare. Third, major Indian historical events. And finally, gastronomy and human achievements.
All right, part one, universe and astronomical milestones, the cosmos on August 27th.
Before we even talk about what humanity was doing on this day, we've got to wrap our heads around the sheer astronomical scale of what was happening right above us. 55,760,000. I really want you to take a second and imagine the sheer magnitude of that figure, because that is the exact distance, in kilometers, between Earth and Mars on August 27, 2003. Now, you might be thinking 55 million kilometers is a long way, and it is. But in galactic terms, that is practically a cosmic high five. This was literally the historic closest approach Mars had made to Earth in nearly 60,000 years. And because they were so remarkably close, this specific date allowed the Hubble Space Telescope to capture absolutely unparalleled atmospheric and surface imagery of the red planet.
And this brilliantly illustrates the mind-bending scale of time we're dealing with here. Think about it. 60,000 years ago, early humans were just walking the Earth the last time Mars was that close. But right in the middle of that vast, sprawling timeline sits 1962. Because on that exact same date, August 27th, NASA launched Mariner 2 toward Venus. That launch kicked off humanity's very first successful interplanetary flyby mission. So on this one single calendar day, you've got a 60 millennia planetary cycle peaking, which perfectly mirrors humanity's own modern leap into interplanetary exploration.
Moving on to part two, world politics and warfare, the world stage. Now let's zoom in really fast from the vacuum of space, right down to Earth. Because while the planets were quietly aligning up in the sky, nations were violently and diplomatically crashing into each other down here. We see the super dramatic historical contrast on this exact date. On the one hand, we have the absolute heights of global idealism. On August 27, 1928, major world powers gathered in Paris to sign the Kellogg-Briand Pact. This was a foundational piece of modern international law that literally sought to outlaw war globally as a tool of national policy. I mean, what a beautiful, lofty goal, right? But then, fast forward a bit to August 27, 1896, and we have the Anglo-Zanzibar War. This conflict holds the mind-boggling title of the shortest recorded war in world history. Zanzibar surrendered to British forces in just 38 to 45 minutes, less than an hour. It is fascinating how this single date manages to capture both the ultimate optimistic quest for permanent global peace and the absolute rapid-fire absurdity of imperial conflict.
Okay, section 3, major Indian historical events, Indian heritage.
So if August 27th is a day of massive extremes on the world stage, in India, it is a day of profound foundational heritage. So the crucial point is that this single date acted as a birthing ground for massive cultural and societal pillars in India. Just look at this. In 1604, the holy scripture of Sikhism, the Guru Granth Sahib, was completed and ceremonially installed at the Golden Temple in Amritsar, a deeply spiritual cornerstone. Then, fast forward to 1859, and we see the birth of Sir Dorabji Tata, the first chairman of the Tata Group. This is the man who pioneered Indian industry and even supported India's early Olympic dreams. And then later, in 1910, we have the birth of Nobel Peace Prize laureate Mother Teresa, who would of course go on to establish the Missionaries of Charity in Kolkata. Spirituality, industry, and incredible humanitarianism, all completely tethered to this single date.
But the connection to India goes even deeper into how the celestial directly impacts the cultural, and this brings us to the Shahi Snan, or the royal bathing ceremony. During various iterations of the Nashik Trimbakeshwar Simhasta Kumbh Mela, August 27th has historically served as a key date for this deeply rooted socio-religious event. And you might be wondering why? Well, it's actually because of exactly what we talked about back in section 1, the skies. This holy bathing date is dictated by specific planetary alignments. It's like the cosmos practically point a giant arrow to this date on the calendar.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because those exact same planetary alignments on August 27th frequently coincide with the onset of the Hindu calendar month of Bhadrapada. And the beginning of this specific month, it isn't just a religious marker. It actually became the spark for a major historical revolution.
Here's how it happened. The month of Bhadrapada birthed the public Ganeshotsav traditions in Pune. So at first, this was simply patronized as a public celebration by the Peshwas. But step 2 is where the history completely shifts. In the late 19th century, Lokmanya Tilak took this traditional festival, anchored to this time of year, and formally transformed it. He essentially turned a cultural gathering into a massive socio-political movement, mobilizing the masses against British colonial rule, and the idea spread like wildfire. It's an incredible narrative when you step back and look at it. The stars align, a month begins, a tradition is celebrated, and a revolution finds its perfect cover.
Finally, Section 4, Gastronomy and Human Achievements, the Human Element. So after looking at 60,000-year planetary cycles and the dramatic rise and fall of empires, what were everyday humans celebrating and striving for on this day? Well, for one thing, they were eating peaches. August 27th is actually National Peach Day. And I know, while it sounds like just another quirky modern holiday, the peach traces its agricultural roots all the way back through the ancient Silk Road trade routes. It's a great reminder for us that while Mars was making its historic approach out in the cold vacuum of space, down here on Earth, ancient farm-to-table traditions were quietly shaping modern global cuisine.
Now, what's really interesting about this idea is our absolute human obsession with tracking our own greatness, creating the ultimate global benchmark for culinary world records. Think about it. We don't just want to eat the peach, right? We want to know who ate the biggest peach, who ate it the fastest, maybe while standing on one foot. We just have this innate, built-in drive to measure and rank our achievements.
And that drive was officially codified on, yep, you guessed it, August 27th. In 1955, the very first edition of the Guinness Book of Records was bound and published in London. What famously started as just a fun way to settle pub arguments became the absolute global benchmark for bizarre, magnificent, and culinary human achievements. From the largest meals ever cooked to the rarest ingredients ever found, August 27th literally gave us the rulebook for human extremes.
So we started all the way out in the cosmos and we ended up in a pub in London. Astronomy, warfare, international peace, rich Indian heritage, and the ultimate record book of human trivia. They all share this incredible piece of real estate on the calendar. History, space, and culture completely collided on this single day to shape the world as we know it. Which leaves us with one unavoidable, absolutely fascinating question to ponder. Knowing all this, what in the world is going to happen next August 27th? Thanks for joining me on this explainer today. Keep looking at the data, keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.